All right, everyone. These are the slides and the workouts for week 3 of testing with the level method and CrossFit classes and week 3 of Vitality Month in CVC. So this is Monday, the last chance to test or retest on the group 2s on the map for level method. So you can either redo your deadlift test or we've got some deadlift work that you can do. So you see either do your barbell sets of 8, 5, or 1 rep maxes for the test, or you've got some reps and sets there you could do if you wanted to get in some deadlift work. Upper body pushes. This should be interesting. There's plenty of people that did the Tabata test when they did their group 2, and that Tabata push-up test was pretty grueling. And if they pass that, you may want to actually go ahead and do another version of the test and try your strict press test. If you don't want to do that, we've got some work there for you, either 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 8 or building up to heavy sets of 5 or 3. So lots of options there, especially if you want to retest on that upper body push. Or maybe you want to dial back that upper body push because last week you did the Tabata push-up test and that kind of fatigued you for whatever version of the upper and lower body endurance test you did. And so you want to either probably a chance to retest that one. So you could do that, or we've got an alternative workout here that works out with some deadlifts and a run, but the upper body endurance has kind of been replaced and with push-ups to do pull-ups. You'll see here lots of different options for pull-ups. You need to be able to do the set that's listed there in at least, and probably 2 sets, maybe 3 quick sets, but mostly just 2 sets. So at that orange level, that's probably the trickiest one. If you're working on pull-ups there and you don't know if you have 10 pull-ups each round in 2 sets, you may be doing a little mixing and matching there, adding in ring rows, like 15 ring rows, but staying at that deadlift weight. So this may have some mixing and matching, not just throughout the day with deciding whether you're testing or retesting or doing the workouts there, or there may be a little bit of mixing and matching depending on your pull-up proficiency with this. On Monday for CVC, we've got a commitment interval, getting the ski ergs out for Stanton in Fishersville. You guys will be doing burpees, still going to have a similar stimulus there. You'll notice another movement that day is the push press. So whether you're doing the ski erg or the burpees, those are both going to fatigue your triceps, the backs of your arms for that push press. So that push press is going to really teach you to use your legs to drive those kettlebells overhead. Otherwise, those arms are going to be feeling pretty fatigued by the end of the day. And then you've got some core work and you've got some lower body work with both speed and endurance with those ring assisted jump squats. And we got to cash out the rows, kettlebell rows, to work on your pulling muscles. On Tuesday in CrossFit, another chance to do the aerobic power intervals test. I'm sure there's not going to be a whole lot of people that want to retest that. So you can either do the aerobic power intervals test, or we've got this other Fight Gone Bad style workout you can do with different movements. Really going to work on endurance with that body weight movements there. And if you're proficient at double unders, you get a lot of practice there. Maybe those that are really proficient at it actually get to try out some triple unders there. So there's lots of different scaling options for that alternative workout there. And the way this is set up is the alternative workout doesn't require you to move around the room at all, so you can stay in one spot. The few people that still have that have to do the aerobic power intervals won't take up much space as well. So neither one of these groups, either group is going to be messing with each other. So you have plenty of room in the box that day for those. On Tuesday, we've got our vitality test. I'm sorry, not vitality test, our vitality strength workout. This is kind of the confusing one where you've got 3 movements that you kind of rotate through, and one movement where once you land there, you don't rotate. You're just doing the 10 heaviest deadlifts you can do every 50 seconds on the 50 seconds. So if you're not doing those deadlifts, you've got some movements that are kind of interesting there with the saber tooth and our banded rotations and the reverse lunge. So those are going to challenge you there. And then when you're in the deadlifts, is a basic movement and you're going as heavy as you can, trying to get comfortable with that heavy weight there. And we got some push-up work for you afterwards. We're to Wednesday now with another chance to test on the rings, or you can do a couple of max sets on the rings or boxes where you're either holding yourself for as long as you can, or you're doing max sets of strict dips. And we'll give you about 5 or 6 minutes to do that. So you'll have plenty of rest in between if you're working on those max sets or wanting to redo your ring test. I doubt anybody's going to be redoing the running test. So we've got an alternative workout for you there. And there's still time that class to get our first flexibility test in there. Now, for most people, that flexibility test is going to be trying to make sure you can get your hips below parallel and hold those for a certain amount of time. As that gets better, you may then be working on doing some wall squats. And there's a tempo to those wall squats where you're going descending for 5 seconds, holding the bottom of that squat for 3 seconds, coming up for 1 second, holding for a second before you get to that next rep. Coaches will explain this. You'll actually have the opportunity to hold a PVC pipe while you're doing that as well. So it's really going to work on that overhead position. That's the bulk of us are going to be doing that for our flexibility test. For those that are really flexible, that get into that purple, basically the scratch test, the ability to kind of get your fingers to touch behind your back is going to be the limiting factor. If you can't do that, then you'll be testing at something below purple then on that. Accountability Wednesday is a really fun day here that day. It's a 30-minute workout, but between you and your partner having rest and giving each other rest, you will probably only end up working for about 7 to 8 minutes. That means when you're working really hard. So we've got some movements that are very challenging here to get all of the intensity that we need you to get out of those 7 or 8 minutes of work that are spread out over 30 minutes. So it should be a very interesting day that day. Thursday is our one day in CrossFit where we're not testing. It's a chance to just work on some cleans. Now, because some of the tests are actually what we'll do the following week will be power clean tests. You actually may already find out how you're going to do the next week. I've got for the strength portion here where we're talking about hang power cleans and power cleans. If you're in beginners or all levels classes, we'll talk just about the hang power clean for most of the time. If you're in the intermediate classes, we will talk about pulling from the floor, the full version of that power clean. If you've been introduced to that full version of the power clean, I don't really care what your color is there. You have the option of doing that full version of the power clean. But if you are not very proficient at cleans in general, you can get a lot of work, whether you're intermediate or not, by sticking with that hang power clean and really dial in the movement pattern for that. After that, you get to use the cleans in the workout, and the color coding system should be pretty accurate for most people. There shouldn't be much mixing and matching. But if you are somebody that generally is going to work in the orange, but you feel proficient from your power cleans from the floor and you want to kind of increase weight and you're going to look good doing it, then there might be a little bit of mixing and matching there. And you'll see at the blue, you have the opportunity to build in weight as the workout goes. And you have 5 rounds to increase that weight. So you want to make sure you start conservatively there, about 70% of your 1 rep max of the power clean, which is going to put most guys that work at the blue at about 135 starting out, and maybe ladies at 95. All right. So the CDC workout that day, this is a confidence interval, and basically this is just constant movement. You look at these movements there, nothing super fast about them, but there's no breaks in them. You just have to keep moving the entire time. It's a full 24 minutes of work that day. It's all about pacing. It's all about that aerobic endurance. And then we get to work on what is a fairly challenging movement, but people start to be able to do that the more time they spend with it. So we've taken that out of the workout to give you time to work on those Cossack squats, which include a lot of mobility. It should help those people that are working on their flexibility tests. As we have an opportunity twice this week to do flexibility, I think we'll have more opportunities in the coming weeks too for those tests with the level method. All right, second chance on, I think we're up to Thursday now. Actually, maybe this is Friday. Actually, this Friday, we are doing our rowing. I doubt anybody's going to redo the rowing test. So those that haven't had the opportunity to do the rowing test will be able to do that. Everybody else will be doing a 20-minute AMRAP of a Kelly, essentially. 400-meter run, 30 box jumps, 30 wall balls. This will be interesting to see those people that have done Kelly in the past, how they approach this workout. You could move at a little quicker pace here, knowing you only have to work for 20 minutes that day. And then it's another chance to do our flexibility test that day as well. Another constant movement day kind of here. So before it was confidence, the day before vitality, this is a constant movement day. where you get a little chance to catch your breath with those kettlebell halos. Also, it's kind of interesting to see how your body reacts from doing box jumps to getting back to doing those footwork drills on the ladders with this. And then we're accumulating a 3-minute plank hold afterwards for our cash out that day. Saturday, we have our open WOD. So we've got 7, 8, 9 o'clock classes for the open. We don't know what the workout's going to be. We don't know how they're going to be scaled out. So we'll wait till Thursday night to hear how that works and then try to get something published after that. Saturday in CDC, just an old school workout here. Basic cardio stuff. You do bikes in the Stanton, rowers in Fishersville. And you got core work. You got sumo deadlift tie pulls. You got squats. Easy movements to get to those 9 and 10s today on that day. So it's a very high intensity day that day. And you get some jump rope practice afterwards. All right. See you this week.